5 Japanese-inspired morning habits that may help reduce belly fat. Start tomorrow. Imagine waking up at 6 in the morning and doing almost nothing that looks like a traditional fat-burning routine. No exhausting cardio, no complicated meal plan, no calorie-counting app, no expensive supplements. Instead, you drink some water, step outside, walk quietly for a few minutes, leave your coffee alone for a while, and keep your phone untouched. This may sound almost too ordinary to matter, but ordinary habits can have a surprisingly powerful effect on the way your mornings unfold, and your morning routine can influence sleep, stress, appetite, movement, and the choices you make throughout the rest of the day. Consider a woman living in Kyoto. At around 6 each morning, she follows a simple sequence. She drinks water, she gets outside, she takes a gentle walk toward a nearby shrine, she waits before having coffee, and for the first part of her morning, she doesn't check her phone. She isn't trying to hack her metabolism. It's simply the way she starts her day. Meanwhile, someone else may wake up, immediately check emails and social media, grab a large coffee, skip breakfast, and force themselves through an intense workout before work. Both people may believe they're doing what is necessary to stay healthy. So why can one approach feel so much easier to maintain? One possible piece of the puzzle is cortisol. Cortisol is often described as the stress hormone, but that label can make it sound like something your body should eliminate. It shouldn't. Cortisol is essential. It helps you become alert in the morning, supports blood pressure and blood sugar regulation, and helps your body respond to challenges. And cortisol naturally rises after you wake. This is known as the cortisol awakening response. The issue isn't having a morning cortisol rise. That's normal. The bigger concern is chronic stress, poor sleep, disrupted circadian rhythms, and other factors that may contribute to an unhealthy pattern of cortisol throughout the day. Research has also found associations between stress-related hormonal patterns and greater abdominal fat, particularly visceral fat, the type stored around internal organs. But here's the important part. You don't need to become obsessed with cortisol. You can simply build a morning that supports your body's natural rhythm. And that's where these 5 Japanese-inspired habits come in. They aren't magic tricks for melting fat overnight. Think of them as small behaviors that can support hydration, circadian rhythm, movement, stress management, and better daily habits. Let's start with the easiest one. Habit 1. Drink water before reaching for coffee. After several hours of sleep, you naturally go without drinking. So when you wake up, one of the simplest things you can do is have some water. It doesn't have to be exotic. You don't need a special detox drink. You don't need an expensive powder. A regular glass of water is enough. Some people prefer it warm, which can make it more pleasant first thing in the morning. The important thing is hydration. And there's another reason this simple habit can be useful. If coffee is the very first thing you consume every morning, you may end up relying on caffeine before you've even given yourself a chance to wake naturally. Coffee isn't inherently bad. In fact, moderate coffee consumption can fit perfectly well into a healthy lifestyle. But if you notice that your morning coffee is followed by jitters, anxiety, or an afternoon energy crash, experimenting with your timing may be worthwhile. So, tomorrow morning, try something different. Wake up, drink water. Give yourself a few minutes before reaching for anything stimulating. It's a tiny change, but it creates a completely different opening to the day. And the next habit may be even more important for your body clock. Habit 2. Get outside and see natural morning light. Here's something that costs absolutely nothing. Go outside after you wake up. You don't need to exercise. You don't need perfect weather. You don't even need to walk far. Simply exposing your eyes to natural outdoor light in the morning can provide an important signal to your circadian system. Your circadian rhythm is essentially your body's internal timing system. It influences when you feel awake, when you become sleepy, and many biological processes throughout the day. Modern life can easily interfere with that rhythm. We wake up inside. We sit under artificial lights. Then we immediately stare at a bright phone screen. Our brains receive very little of the natural environmental information they evolved around. Morning daylight provides a much stronger signal, and getting that light early in the day can help reinforce a more consistent sleep-wake schedule. That matters because sleep affects far more than how tired you feel. Poor or irregular sleep can influence hunger, appetite, energy, exercise, and food choices. So instead of thinking, I need to burn more calories this morning, try thinking, I need to give my body a clear signal that the day has started. Step outside. Look toward the bright outdoor environment without staring directly at the sun. Take a few breaths. Let the morning light do its job. And if you combine that with the next habit, you get an even more powerful routine. Habit 3. Don't make coffee the first event of your morning. This one may be controversial for coffee lovers. The idea is simple. Consider waiting before having your first cup. Caffeine works primarily by blocking adenosine receptors. Adenosine is one of the chemicals involved in sleep pressure, the buildup that contributes to feeling tired. Caffeine doesn't magically remove that sleep pressure. It temporarily changes how strongly you perceive it. That's why some people find that drinking coffee immediately after waking doesn't necessarily make them feel dramatically better. Others, of course, feel fantastic after that first cup. There isn't a universal rule saying everyone must wait exactly 90 minutes. That popular recommendation is better viewed as an experiment, rather than a biological law. If delaying coffee works well for you, great. If you prefer coffee earlier and it doesn't interfere with your sleep or make you feel anxious, there's no reason to panic about it. The bigger lesson is this: don't let caffeine dictate how your entire morning begins. Give yourself time to wake. Drink some water, get outside, move around. Then, enjoy your coffee. That creates a morning that feels less reactive and more intentional. And now we get to the habit that may surprise people who believe every morning workout needs to be brutal. Habit 4. Walk instead of turning every morning into a battle. We've been taught that exercise only counts when we're exhausted. Sweat harder, run faster, lift heavier, push until you can't continue. Intensity certainly has a place in fitness. But more isn't always better, especially if an intense workout makes you dread exercising, leaves you exhausted, or becomes something you can only maintain for a few weeks. A much simpler alternative is walking. In Japan, walking as part of everyday life has long been common, from walking to train stations, to strolling through neighborhoods, and visiting temples or shrines. You don't necessarily need to think of it as a workout. Think of it as movement. 20 or 30 minutes at an easy pace can get your body moving, expose you to outdoor light, and create a peaceful transition between sleep and the demands of the day. And walking has another advantage. You can actually do it consistently. That's important, because losing excess body fat isn't about finding one spectacular workout. It's about accumulating healthy behaviors over weeks, months, and years. You don't need to punish yourself every morning. Walk. Enjoy the surroundings, let your breathing settle, listen to the sounds around you, and give your brain a chance to transition into the day, which brings us to the 5th habit. And this one requires absolutely no exercise. Habit 5. Keep your phone away for the first 30 minutes. Think about what happens when you wake up and immediately grab your phone. One notification becomes 3. 3 messages become social media. Then you see the news, then an email, then something stressful, and before you've even gotten out of bed, your attention has already been pulled in 10 different directions. Your morning has started in reaction mode. Instead, imagine waking up and not checking anything. No headlines, no work messages, no social media, no notifications, just 30 quiet minutes. Drink your water, get outside, walk, stretch, make your bed, look out the window, sit quietly. Whatever feels calming to you. This doesn't mean your phone is harmful. The problem is the automatic behavior. When checking your phone becomes first thing you do every morning, you immediately hand control of your attention to whatever happens to be waiting on the screen. A calmer beginning may help you feel more in control of the rest of your day, and that can indirectly influence everything from stress to food choices. Think about it like starting a computer. You wouldn't open 50 applications before the operating system has finished loading. Yet that's essentially what many people do with their brains every morning. They wake up and immediately load work, news, messages, social media, financial worries, and other people's problems. Give yourself 30 minutes first. The world can wait. Now let's simplify the entire routine. Tomorrow morning, try this. First, drink water. Before coffee or scrolling, have a glass of water. Second, get outside. Spend several minutes in natural morning light. Third, delay caffeine if it feels good for you. You don't have to follow an exact 90-minute rule. Simply give yourself some time to wake naturally before your first coffee. Fourth, take an easy walk. 20 to 30 minutes is plenty for a simple morning movement routine. Fifth, stay off your phone for about 30 minutes. Protect the first part of your morning from notifications and unnecessary stimulation. Notice something? None of these habits requires a gym. None requires a supplement. None requires a complicated meal plan. And none promises to magically melt belly fat. That's because there is no single morning trick that selectively burns fat from your stomach. Belly fat changes primarily through your overall energy balance, nutrition, physical activity, sleep, genetics, and many other factors. But these habits can help create an environment where healthier choices become easier to maintain. And that is much more valuable than a quick fix promise. Perhaps the biggest lesson isn't actually about water. It isn't about coffee. It isn't even about cortisol. It's about how you begin your day. Modern life encourages speed. Wake up, check the phone, drink coffee, rush to work, sit for hours, eat quickly, repeat. A slower morning gives you something different. Space, light, movement, quiet. Consistency, the Japanese concepts of mindfulness, simplicity, and intentional pauses can remind us that health isn't always about adding more. Sometimes it's about removing unnecessary stimulation. You don't need to completely transform your life tomorrow. Start with one thing. Put a glass of water beside your bed tonight. When you wake up, drink it. Then step outside. Tomorrow, perhaps add the walk. The following day, experiment with leaving your phone untouched. Small habits become powerful when they become automatic. And if you're struggling with stubborn abdominal weight, don't assume that the answer is simply to work harder and eat less. Look at the entire picture. How are you sleeping? How stressed are you? How much are you moving during the day? What does your morning look like? When do you drink caffeine? And how often do you wake up and immediately put yourself into reaction mode? Sometimes the most useful change isn't doing more. It's changing what you do first. So tomorrow morning, before the world gets your attention, give yourself 30 quiet minutes, drink some water, get some daylight, walk, breathe, and let your day begin before your phone tells you what your day is supposed to be. If you found this perspective useful, share it with someone who is tired of extreme diets and punishing workouts. And tell us in the comments, which of these 5 habits are you going to try tomorrow morning?